Bachelor here, I don't know too much. But I don't know much more levels, but I can tell you like landmarks because I used to go fishing over there a lot.
Yeah, that's my kai. Mo'olelos, experiences, holoing or anything that you've heard
Mhm.
from people or kupuna or experienced yourself.
Well, I know for Paibe, we still call there, we still go Camp Third Park, but the last park, Sawray in. Um, but that's when I was like young. The only thing I can remember that I remember a guy was drowned over there. He go have the big OP on a rock. He don't forget the big OP. The wave went take him out, and he never know how to swim. So his brother went jumping for help him, but he ended up drowning the brother. So the brother who went jumping for help him went die, but the guy who went for Ropi he went survive because he was like when they panic and they push the person underneath just for stay up. So he survived, and then my brother, my oldest brother, the one that just passed, Russell, he jumped in and he saved that one guy. Um, and I don't know. See, I don't know the name of the points. We just know landmarks. Like we used to go over there and be like, oh, go by the island over there because you have plenty like place where you gotta cross through the water for get up onto the papa for fish. Um, well, Lehia Akane. Okane Lehia Akane Lehia. It's the name of the mano. And that's kind of like the kupua for Kyoha area. Um, and it matches more than I've heard before, where you know there was a shark that was born in what is it, Kaumaui? Is it Kaumaui or Kaumaui? But it was born in that area where the family went. The mother went down to the ocean to Hanau, and she gave birth to a shark, and she told that shark never harm anybody from Kilhaha. So he was always known as the one that protects the people of Kilhaha. Um, Nicololo, who was the other shark, he's the one who killed somebody outside of Hawaii. And that's why Kanelehia went after Mikololo because he killed one of the fishermen on that coastline where he was sworn to protect. Then I've heard Kua. That one came from Mo'olelo by, I believe it's Kaho Olopua. Um, and the name of the shark was Kua, and they lived in a cave at Lehia. So, and I put all this together, you know, Kane Lehia probably was Kua. But yeah, one day I would love to come out to Lehia and just sit down and talk to her because, you know, if I'm in this space, then brings back a lot more memories.
Yeah.
But like diving, we used to go holo holo. Right before you guys' place in there or at the yellow bus.
Yep.
We used to drive into the yellow bus and then walk out to the point and then dive back to was it Pakani's place
Yep.
or was the dad's? I think it was Pakani's. We used to dive to Pakani and turn around and come back.
Yeah. Waika'alulu and then Waiokawa is Uncle Bill's Pakani's Bay.
Yeah. So we knew Uncle Bill too because he worked there also with my dad.
Oh.
Yeah. So and then we used to go back there. But we're small again, and we used to go catch lobster with the hand pole.
Mm.
So he used to And I was small, and I never really know what was going on. But I just remember the experiences. And also outside, well, a little bit past this house, get one clump of pine trees. We call it pine trees. I never been there from land, but from the ocean. And outside the pine trees, about maybe 200 yards, there's a ahikoa. So we took over there, go outside there, and then go catch ahi. We palo ahi on the koa. Um, those koas. I don't I don't know if the younger generation of fishermen knows about these koas because before, back in the 80s, 90s, not so much, but definitely 80s, maybe early in the 90s, boats used to be always parked on the koas fishing. And now when I go out or when the past, maybe 20, what is this? Yeah, maybe 20, 25 years when they've been going on the boat. I don't see boats parked on the koas anymore. So I don't know if the younger fishermen know about koa fishing or they know where the koas are. But that was one of the koas. We used to call it the pine tree koa, or 6 mile, because we used to call King's Landing Point at Lehia area, we used to call it 6 miles or 6 mile. And because it's 6 miles from Hilo Bay. So that was a landmark that and the koa was there. Dove out there for how many years? I've never seen mono. So don't I see one mono, but that was in front of Pu'umaile. So, but yeah, I've never seen it. It's always been a good feeling.
My father said the same thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The only kind of hairy part was in front Uncle Asian's place. Oh. Cause the thing it's all cliff. Like it gets deep real fast. Yeah. And when you dive in there, the water is very dark. It is very, very good feeling being in the water over there. And then again, get plenty ole holes. I don't know that, but I used to think my boys when they're small, we used to get the hand holes and catch holes. Again, we park by the bus and then we walk on the coastline and find like those little inlets and then catch a holes. Yeah. And then of course Limoko, and then of course he passed the governor, keep up on the way in. He is good. He's always come out and greet us. Yeah. So here on car come in, he go walk outside. This was before the gate. Mm-hmm. So he would walk outside and then he go, hey, what he's doing, and then we talk story. Then come out, then we give him whatever, give him fish and stuff. So eventually when the gate came up, then he'd be like, oh, if my van home, just, call me, I'll let you guys in, and that was before, county and clean up Pu'umaile. We've never had problems over there. Just had the people in the tents and stuff on the side of the road, but they just mind their own business. This is after they cleaned it up. No more fish like I had before. Like at Palikai before, and all the tents and stuff like that. People go inside scared, park their car, so nobody would go holo. But now they open them up. I was kind of, and I understand why they did Pu'umaile. At that point, the drug problem was kind of rampant. I know your dad, when you guys in school, you used to walk in and out, and would have the druggies like right on the entrance of Pu'umaile. Mm-hmm. As young females walking in and out wasn't a safe place. So I understand that. But prior to that ice epidemic and all that, back in the 80s, the families that lived there, they do that. They did drink, but they're very, well, from what I know, They're good people.
Yeah.
They maintain their little, you go hello, you come in, they greet you. It wasn't, a bad thing. And this I was kind of bummed when they clean out Pumaile, because I know already what's gonna happen to the coastline. And I'm glad you guys put up the gate. I know I had plenty of hassle with guys cutting the locks and stuff like that. Um, but again, you gotta lock your icebox at times. It's kind of a mixed feeling, but I understood when your dad made the point about you guys walking in and out. A lot of the families that was camping at the breakwall at the time back in the 80s. So that's like the kaya house. They had one house, but they just chose to live down there. They cleaned the Onekaka. Everybody went from Onekaka back behind Pumaile side. Because the Onekaka crowd was kind of different from the original ones that was in Pumaile and Breakwall. So the Onekaka crowd was a bit, they were like a later faction of blue tents that came up. And then when they cleaned them out, then they went go move behind Pumaile. And they used to take their here with them. Like I said, I knew it was gonna have the coastline once they open our Vacon Park. So like one of our swimming spots you go to and it's like nobody's there. You park your car, walk through the bush, walk through the California grass, and it just opens up and there's like Hawaii, Keone Pupu, Lehia. And you just that was kind of like our own little retreat, finding like our own little oasis.
Yeah.
And I remember that swimming there when they were young, because my oldest brother, he used to take us there. And then if you don't know from park when high tide, you come back, your car gonna be on the water.
Yeah.
Because it was all overgrown. So now it's clear. Get that first I don't know river, but that first inlet before the California grass. So if you run the inlet there and you park, you come back, you're on the water. I remember one thing, this Uncle Wes Kailimai, I used to be one of his friends, his best friends in high school. And he used to tell us go behind the pond and go dig in the sand, get clams.
Oh.
So high school time we used to go dig for clams. Right by the pond, get the first pond that you go in, get the sandy area. Yeah, we dig in the sand, we find clams, and we eat the clams right there. So I don't know if still with clams. What that was back in what 80s, like mid 80s, early 80s. So I took my boys there when they're younger, but it wasn't the same. You know what I mean? You go in the early 2000s and you still go back there and there's people with their dogs or people sunbathing. It's not private anymore. Yeah, so you kind of lose that seclusion. And to me, I like with that losing that seclusion, you lose the sacredness of the place.
Exactly.
Because for us growing up, you go there, there's a treat there. And walking through the tall grass and walking through the water and getting wet before you get to the pond was like the experience itself. So that's part of the fun, is that trekking through the jungle. Yeah, so for my kids, they remember going back behind and fishing ole hole and watching the whales outside. They remember the yellow bus.
Hey, that's everybody's landmark. Memory. Yay.
So you turn everybody yellow bus and you get that one loop in there that we park. I didn't know the areas, but it's very different than what it's gonna look like 20 years from now. Back in the day, guys would take their bikes and ride the trail in the back and forth to the Hawaii. Had the gate over there. That gate's been there for the longest time. And guys would ride the bikes from the beginning, or they park their car at the gate. I knew the landscape like the back of my hand. The series of anchor-line ponds in Keopaha runs all the way to, what is that, Shipment area.
Hey, Uncle, in your
Yeah.
research, you know the alkaline ponds. Did Kupuna use it to raise fish or farm fish?
Um, outside of the major ponds, not that I know of.
But in major ponds, like larger ponds, you know, like when you go drive in the back before the yellow bus, Uncle James Iopa's house had a large pond. It's Waiakeakua. It's large, like well, not as large as maybe the size of a little bit larger than Haleolono, but it's all enclosed. Unless I cannot see the beach access because it's overgrown. But it's large.
See, I don't know about that pond. I'm pretty sure that um it was some sort of source used for a food source.
Yeah.
Whether it be for gathering limu, ele grows
Mm-hmm.
well in those ponds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as well as a lot of opai. So that's what they know about the ponds being Kingsland. They had plenty of opai.
And the ia are naturally there. Like our
Yeah.
small pond at Waika'alulu, 5 or 6 holes all the time. And then
Mm-hmm.
the larger pond at Uncle James, yeah, there's holes and big ones, and they're in there by themselves and they're growing fine.
Yeah. And because they have plenty food, no predators.
Yeah.
Even though they're separated by the ocean, there's cracks or during maybe high tides or high surf. Then that's how a lot of the small fishes get in there. Bakahiko, they stock the ponds. Then they'll probably raise fish. But I would say if they stock the ponds, it'll probably be a hole because the food source, because you already have the opai and stuff in the ponds, whereas the anai, they're more of an herbivore.
Mm.
So you might not have the food source where you need the salt and fresh, the brackish water, unless there's like cracks in the lava that allows the salt water to seep in.
Oh, yeah, I
But
never know hole can live in like that amount of fresh water.
mm-hmm. So there's probably some salt that seeps through
Mm-hmm.
when I dive in behind the Aina back there. It's not like you're diving in Kyoka where the water is cold. So the water is warm out there, which tells me there's not much interaction between the ponds and the ocean. Once you get past a certain point being King's Landing, the drop off the blue water comes fast.
Mm.
So it's not like a gradual extension out into the ocean, where you can have springs into the ocean, but it's drop off like cliff. I don't think there's much interaction between the fresh and the salt water.
And the water is like you said, not warm because the salt, but the salt is clean. You know what I
The salinity of the water is not as salty, which means there's still a lot of fresh water in the ocean. That's why you feel that way. If you see LL in the ponds, you know the pond is healthy.
Mm.
The limu LL will tell you the health of your pond.